So welcome back, everyone. First of all, give yourself a round of applause. You've already completed 4 important milestones in your entrepreneurial journey. You identified a real world problem. You validated whether people actually experience that problem. You converted your idea into a lean canvas. And in the last block, you created your startup's identity, its logo, its name, tagline, colors, and brand personality. But let me ask you something. If someone asked you right now, can I see your startup? What would you show them? Most of you would probably open your lean canvas and show your logo. That's a great beginning, but investors don't invest in ideas alone. Customers don't buy ideas. They buy experiences, they buy products, they buy solutions. And today, that is exactly what we are going to build. So, welcome to Block 5, MVP Build. MVP stands for Minimum Viable Product. Don't worry if you have never heard this term before. By the end of the session, you will not only understand it, you actually build one. The exciting part is that you don't need to know coding. You don't need to be a software engineer. You don't even need months to build something meaningful. Today, with the help of AI and no-code tools, you will create a real working product that you can proudly share with your friends, parents, teachers, and even potential customers. Some of you will build a landing page, some will build a working prototype app, some may create an interactive product experience, whatever you choose. Your startup will have something real that people can click, open, and explore. And that's a huge milestone. So remember this, entrepreneurs don't just think, entrepreneurs build. So today we are going to stop talking about ideas and start building them. So let's get started. Now, before we start building, let's pause for a moment and look at how far you have come. Every successful startup follows a journey. Nobody wakes up one morning and magically has a successful company. It happens one step at a time. That's exactly what we have been doing in this workshop. In block 1, you identified a meaningful problem worth solving. Instead of jumping to solutions, you learned to observe people, understand their challenges, and discover opportunities. In block 2, you validated your idea, you spoke to potential users, gathered feedback, and checked whether the problem was real and worth solving. In block 3, you transformed your idea into a business using the lean canvas. You thought like entrepreneurs by identifying your customers, value proposition, revenue model, and key activities. In block 4, you gave your startup an identity. You created a name, designed a logo, crafted a tagline, and chose colors that reflected your brand personality. And today we enter block 5. This is where everything comes together. Your lean canvas is no longer just a document. Your logo is no longer just a design. Your startup name is no longer just a name. Today, all of these become part of a real product. By the end of this session, every team should have 3 things. First, a working MVP. Second, a live link or a shareable file that anyone can access. Third one, that link should be added to maybe a shared document, and you can actually share it with everybody if you want, if you're doing this live in your school or anywhere. And this is an important shift in your entrepreneurial journey. Until yesterday, the last session, you were planning. Today, you're actually building. So remember, ideas become startups only when someone creates something that other people can experience. So keep your lean canvas and your brand kit ready beside you. You will be using this throughout the session because they contain everything you need to build your first product. So let's begin turning your startup into something real. Now, let's understand one of the most important concepts in the startup world, the MVP. that is the minimum viable product. Every successful company you know today, whether it's Zomato, Swiggy, Airbnb, Amazon, Instagram, they started with an MVP. They didn't begin with hundreds of features. They started with one simple question. What is the version of our product that still solves the customer's problem? And that's exactly what an MVP is. A minimum viable product is the smallest real product that allows you to test whether your idea actually works. And notice three words carefully: minimum. This doesn't mean poor quality. It means removing everything that is not absolutely necessary. Ask yourself, if I could build one feature today, what would it be? And that one feature should solve the customer's biggest problem. Everything else can wait. Now, the second word is viable. Your product must actually work. It shouldn't be broken or confusing. Even if it's simple, it should give users a good experience. So think of it like cooking. A simple sandwich can still be delicious if it's made well. You don't need a 10-course meal to impress someone. The same is true for startups. Now, the third word is product. This is the most important, powerful part. It has something real. It's not just a sketch or a Canva design or a powerful PowerPoint presentation. Someone should be able to click it, open it, explore it, or use it. So if your friend can interact with it, you built a product actually. So let me give you a quick example. Suppose your startup idea is an app that helps students find tutors. Do you need video calls, payments, chat, AI recommendations, ratings, certifications, all on day one? We've already read about it, so absolutely not. For your MVP, a simple web page where students can browse tutors, click request a tutor might be enough. Okay. Or imagine you've built a platform to reduce food waste. You don't need a complex mobile app today. A simple landing page where restaurants can register their interest is enough to test whether people actually want your solution. And that's what entrepreneurs do. They don't spend months building features nobody asked for. They build something small, show it to real users, collect feedback, improve it, and repeat the process. So today, you're going to follow the same approach. Now on this slide, you'll also see 4 different types of MVPs that you can actually build. A landing page using something called CARD, CARRD, a pitch as product using Gamma, a working app prototype using Glide, or a simple automation or chatbot, using Make. And in the next slide, we will help you choose the one that's best suited for your startup idea. So remember this one sentence: an MVP is not the smallest product you can build. It's the smallest product that creates real value for real customer. And that's our goal today. So now comes your first important entrepreneurial decision of the day. Every startup is different, which means every MVP doesn't have to look the same. Some ideas are better explained through a website, some are better demonstrated through an app, and others are easier to understand through an interactive presentation. So the good news is you have the options. So what you can do is just take a look at each options here. We'll start with the first option, option A, landing page using card. Now, this is the option I recommend for most teams. If your startup is an app, product, or a service, a landing page is the fastest way to introduce it to the world. Think of it as a startup's digital front door. It tells visitors what problem you're solving, how your solution works, and gives them a way to express interest. If someone says, I want to know more, your landing page should answer the question. Option number B is pitch as product using Gamma. Now, this works well when your idea is easier to explain as a story. Instead of a traditional presentation, Gamma creates an interactive experience that people can scroll through. It feels modern, visual, and engaging. If your startup involves education, consulting, social impact, or a service, Gamma is a great choice. Option C, app prototype using Glide. If your idea is based on listings, directories, marketplaces, or data, Glide can convert a simple Google Sheet into a working mobile app. Imagine creating an app without writing a single line of code. That is exactly what Glide allows you to do. Finally, option D, make automation. So this is not your main MVP. Think of it as an upgrade. Example, imagine someone joins your waitlist. Instead of manually sending them an email, make an automatically uh, uh, you know, uh, send a personalized welcome message. Some automations like these make your startup feel much more professional. Now, here is the most important advice I will give you today. Don't spend the next 20 minutes deciding. Entrepreneurs make decisions with the information they have. They don't wait forever looking for the perfect option. In fact, you will notice a sentence on the slide that I absolutely love. Done is better than perfect. So your goal today isn't to build the world's greatest startup. It is, in fact, to build something real, something that works well, something you can improve later. Because every successful startup is built through continuous improvement and not through endless planning. So here is your challenge. Give yourself 5 minutes. Sit with your team, discuss your startup, decide which MVP format fits your idea best. And once you have made your choice, stick with it. Don't switch halfway through. Commit to your decision and start building. I'll walk around this entire thing maybe after 5 minutes, and we can definitely discuss, right? So once you're ready, we can go ahead. So you can pause the video, take 5 minutes and continue. Now, we are moving from planning to execution. For those of you who have chosen card A, right, which is, option A, which is card, this is where your startup comes alive, right? And you don't have to worry if you have never built a website before. Today, you're not trying to become a web developer. You're actually trying to become a founder. And founders focus on communicating value, not writing code uh, to that extent, unless they are the coders themselves. Okay, think of your landing page as your startup's first impression. Imagine a visitor lands on your page. Within 5 to 10 seconds, they should be able to answer three simple questions. What is this? Who is this for? And why should I care? So if your page answers those three questions clearly, you have done an excellent job. Okay, so let's build it section by section. Okay, let me first explain to you. Step number one is where you will create your card account, right? So what you'll do, you'll go to card.co. Yes, it is card.co. Sign up for a free account, and then you will click on new site and choose a simple one-page template. Okay, don't waste time browsing dozens of templates. Just pick a clean one and start building. Your step number two should be which is creating your hero section. Okay, this is your first thing visitors will see. Add your startup name there. Add the tagline you created in block 4, if you remember. And below that, write one simple sentence explaining what your startup does. And use your brand colors and logo so that your identity remains consistent. Your step number 3 is where you will be explaining the problem and the solution. You have to keep it short. Just 2 lines describing the customer's problem. Then 2 lines explaining how your startup actually solves it. You should remember, visitors don't want essays, they want clarity. So if you are struggling with the wording, don't spend 20 minutes thinking. Use Claude or ChatGPT to generate the first draft. Then edit it to sound like your startup. Step number 4 is highlight 3 features. You should go back to your lean canvas, look at your solution block, and pick the 3 strongest features. Write each one as a short bullet point, less than 10 words if possible. Keep them simple and benefit oriented. For example, AI-powered career guidance, book appointments instantly. You remember that verb plus, right? So track progress in real time. All these are, you can say examples. Now, visitors should immediately understand why your product is useful. Your step number 5 should be adding a call to action. CTA, we call it in short. So every startup needs this one. Tell visitors exactly what you want them to do. It could be like join our wait list, register now, and it should be very clear, visible, right? Get early access, book a demo. Don't leave people wondering what happens next. Finally, you should be able to publish it. Okay, that's the step number 6. And this is where many founders actually hesitate. They keep adjusting colors, changing fonts, rewriting headlines. Don't fall into that trap. Just publish your first version. And remember, startups improve through feedback and not endless editing. Once your page is actually published, copy the live link and paste it in your class shared document or whatever WhatsApp group. Discuss it with your friends. I'll say congratulations, because you have officially done your first startup website. And one last thing before you actually begin, see the prompts shown on this slide are your AI teammates. Use Claude to write your headline, your problem, your solution sections. You can use ChatGPT to generate user stories that can become your feature list. By the way, just to give you one thing, that when you start using most of these AI tools, you should actually start from the problem statement itself. Because if you have generated your problem statement and solution in Claude, and then you're using ChatGPT for something else, it requires some kind of context. Okay. So it's always better that you keep a track of this, create a notepad, and keep pasting. Okay. And once you're ready with this page, ask AI to critique it. Okay. Sometimes the fastest way to improve your startup is to, ask AI, what's wrong with this page? Right. So you now have actually 20 minutes. You can pause before you're building the page, and we'll come back and see you again. Okay. Now, not every startup needs a website. So some ideas are like better demonstrated in different ways. And that's why we have 2 more powerful options along with an exciting bonus, which is called the gamma part here. Okay. If you've chosen Gamma, think of it as creating your guided tour of your startup, right? Instead of telling people about your idea, you're actually taking them on a journey. The beauty of Gamma is not is that in fact you don't need to design every slide from scratch, because it creates presentations on its own. You simply describe your startup using a prompt, and AI will create your first version for you. Okay, your job is not to accept everything blindly. Of course, you'll have to refine it. Okay, add your startup name, replace some generic content with your own, and include your brand colors and logo, right, from block 4. So by the end, your presentation should feel like your startup and not AI's startup. In fact, it will come up with some kind of pictures, and those pictures may not align with your brand values. So you should remove them. Okay. So once again, just remember that AI gives you a head start. It doesn't replace your creativity. It will make your things faster. Okay. So now let's look at Glide. It's actually one of the most, in fact, my favorite, I'll say, no code tools, because it allows anyone to build a working application without programming. And it starts with something you've probably already used, Google Sheets, right? So think of the sheet as your brain of your app currently. And every row becomes a piece of information here. Every column becomes a detail about that information. Yes, so every row is a piece of information. Every column is a detailed information. So once you connect the sheet to Glide, it automatically transforms into a working mobile application. Now imagine that a spreadsheet becomes an app. Now, if your startup is about, let's say, restaurants, tutors, doctors, books, events, products, or any type of directory or listing, right? You're conducting some kind of competition and you need a lot of entries. I think Glide is the excellent choice. You don't need hundreds of records. 10 sample entries are enough to demonstrate your idea. So today we are building an MVP and not a finished product, of course. Now let's talk about the bonus option here. And the bonus option here is make automation. Okay, and this is where your startup starts behaving like a real business. Now imagine someone visits your landing page and joins your waitlist. And normally you would have to manually send them an email. But with automation, what will happen, the moment they submit the form, they instantly, receive a warm welcome message, and nobody on your team has to do anything. And that's the power of automation. Okay, small touches like these make your startup feel polished and professional. So even if you don't have time to complete the automation today, it's worth understanding how founders use these tools to save time and improve customer experience. Now, don't compare your startup with another team startup, because every team has chosen a different path. Some are building websites, some apps, some are creating some interactive product experiences, right? So there's no best MVP. The best MVP is the one that clearly demonstrates the solution to your customer. So focus on progress and not perfection. Build something real, test it, improve it. And that's how every successful startup grows. Okay. You have the tools now, you have your idea. Now keep building. And if your team gets stuck, you can always share with comments and we can discuss. Okay. So it's time to stop building for a few minutes and start testing it. One of the biggest mistakes first time founders make is assuming that because they understand their product, everyone else will understand it too. But unfortunately, what happens is that's not how the customers think. Your customer doesn't know your journey. They haven't attended this, entire workshop or cities, whatever you may call. They haven't seen your lean canvas. They don't know why you choose your startup idea. Right, all they see is your product. So that's why every successful startup tests with real people before launching. And today we're going to do the same. We are going to use 3 very simple tests. The first is the 5-second test. Turn to the team sitting next to you, let's say, open your MVP, show it to them just for 5 seconds. And if they are not, my suggestion is set up a Zoom call with one of your friends and just show it. Then close it, okay? Ask them this one simple question: what does my startup do? Listen to them carefully, right? If they can clearly explain your product in 1 sentence, congratulations, you have passed the test. But if they say, I'm not really sure, or I think it's something for students, then your headline or your message is not clear enough. That's not bad news, by the way. That's useful feedback. And now comes the second test, which is the stranger test. Imagine someone who has never met you clicks your link. You're not standing beside them. Okay. You can't explain your startup. Would they understand what your product does within 30 seconds? If the answer is yes, you're communicating well. If they still have questions like, wait, what exactly is this? And then simplify your content. So great products are easy to understand. Great founders communicate clearly. Finally, we have the link test, and this is very simple one. Your MVP must actually work. Open your link on your phone, right? Ask, like, does it load? Does it look good? Can someone else access it? Remember, screenshot is not an MVP. A Canva design sitting on your laptop is not an MVP. A real entrepreneur actually shares something people can actually experience. So before you submit your link, ask yourself, would I confidently send this to a teacher? Would I proudly show this to my parents? Would I be comfortable sharing this with my potential investor? If for all these questions, your answer is yes, you are actually ready. And one final tip: if you are unsure how good your MVP is, ask AI. to become your first customer, paste your landing page link or describe your MVP and ask what are the 3 biggest reasons someone might leave this page within 5 seconds. Sometimes honest feedback is the fastest way to improve. Okay, so now if you're sitting with your teams, I would recommend that you pair up with another team, spend the next 8 to 10 minutes testing each other's MVPs, and don't just say it looks nice. Give specific constructive feedback. Remember, you're not judging each other's work, you're helping each other build better startups. Okay. So before we move towards completing our MVPs, I want to share one of the biggest lessons about using AI effectively, right? Many people think AI is about asking random questions and hoping for a good answer, but that's how professionals use AI. Professionals use good prompts. Think of AI like a brilliant intern. And if your instructions are vague, you will get vague results. But if your instructions are specific, structured, and clear, you will get remarkable outputs. And that's exactly why we've created this prompt library for you. Okay, you don't have to start from scratch every time. And let's see, each prompt can help you. The first prompt helps you create landing page copy. If you're struggling to write a headline or call to action, don't waste 20 minutes copying a blank screen. Copy the prompt, replace the startup name, and let Claude generate a first draft. Then improve it using your own understanding of your customer. And remember, AI gives you version 1. You create the final version. The second prompt is for user stories. User stories are incredibly important because they shift our thinking from features to users. Instead of saying our app has notifications, you start saying, as a student, I want reminders so that I never miss an assignment. And that's how product managers think. The third prompt helps you write your problem and solution section. So one of the biggest mistakes entrepreneurs make is talking only about themselves, right? Customers don't care about your startup. They care about their own problems. So always describe the customer's pain first and only then explain how your solution helps. The fourth prompt is probably my favorite, and that is roast my MVP. Is my startup good? AI will often be polite. Instead, you should actually ask, tell me the 3 biggest weaknesses in my app or in my MVP. That's where real learning happens. Great founders don't avoid criticism. They actively look for it, because every weakness you discover today saves you from a bigger problem tomorrow. And you'll notice prompts for gamma presentations and automated, welcome emails. These are not just tools. They're shortcuts that help you spend less time formatting and more time thinking. And that's the real purpose of AI. So AI should automate routine work so that humans can focus on creativity, empathy, and problem solving. So as founders, your competitive advantage is not that you use AI, because everyone can use AI. Okay, your advantage actually comes from asking better questions, making better decisions, and solving real problems. So finally, use these prompts, modify them, improve them, experiment with them, because the better your prompts become, the better your products become. Now you should spend the next few minutes using these prompts to refine your MVP before we do our final, submission here. Okay. So as you're building your, MVP, I want to ask you something about your entrepreneurship experience so far, right? In fact, would also like to share what other entrepreneurs say. For example, building is exciting, but it's also messy. You may also get, stuck. You can change your mind. You'll wonder if your idea is good enough. But that is completely normal. In fact, almost every startup in the world faces the same challenges you're facing today. Let's look at some common problems and how to overcome them. The first problem is decision paralysis. Some teams spend 15 or 20 minutes trying to decide whether they should use card, gamma, or glide. And here is my advice. Make a decision and move forward. Because entrepreneurs are not rewarded for making perfect decisions. They're rewarded for taking action. If you're building an app, product, or service, choose card. And if it is directory listing, we've already discussed glide. And if it's like a presentation or story, then in that case, choose gamma. You should not overthink. The second problem is trying to build everything. Okay. I've already heard some teams say, we want a login page, dashboard, all that. That's wonderful. But that is version 10. Today, you're actually building version 1. So focus on top 3 problems that you're actually solving. Prioritize them, right? You should ask one very simple question. What's the one thing my customer absolutely needs today? You should build that. Everything else will come later. The third challenge is placeholder content. Sometimes we become so focused on the design that we forget to replace the sample text. Imagine sending your MVP to an investor and the headline still says, you're heading here or something like that. That doesn't create a good impression. Before you publish, read every word on your page. Make sure it reflects your startup and it should not reflect your template, okay? And the fourth issue is forgetting your brand identity. So you should remember, block 4. You spend time choosing a startup name, logo, colors, tagline. You should use them. Consistency builds actually trust. Now, finally, the biggest mistake of all is not publishing. So some founders keep saying, just 5 more minutes and all that. That's okay. I mean, if you've done what we have discussed, please go ahead and publish. A product sitting on your laptop will not help anybody. And that's why I want all of you to remember this one sentence, in fact, that is progress beats perfection. So every successful startup you have ever heard of has gone through dozens, several hundreds of versions, and nobody gets it perfect, the first time. So just your goal has to be momentum. You should build, publish, learn, and improve. And that's in fact the startup cycle as well. Okay. This is where we have completed. Congratulations to everyone. Take a moment to look at what you have accomplished today. Just, a few minutes ago, your startup existed mainly with an idea, a lean canvas, and a brand identity. And now you have built an MVP. It may not have every feature you imagined, okay, but it's actually real, it's functional, and most importantly, it's something that other people can experience. Now, ask yourself, these questions. Is my MVP available through a real working link? Does my MVP pass the 5-second test? Have I removed all placeholder text? Have I added my link to the shared, whatever WhatsApp group or something? Have I opened my MVP on mobile phone to make sure everything looks correct? Okay, if all of these answers are yes, you have successfully completed block 5. Okay, now remember that this is not the finish line, this is only the beginning. Today's product is version 1. Tomorrow, with feedback from users, will be version 2 and likewise version 3. Okay, so that's why our next mission is all about creating a compelling pitch deck, where you will learn how to present your startup like a founder, capture attention, and tell a story that investors, maybe judges, customers, partners can understand well. Okay, so once again, congratulations on building your first MVP. Give yourself a well-deserved round of applause. You've taken actually the big step today from being students with an idea to founders with real product. I'll see you in